Welcome everyone. Next topic that we are going to discuss is averages. So everybody knows what average is. It is nothing but sum of samples divided by number of samples. That is a general information. But there is another side to average, right? So mathematically what we say is average is nothing but sum of samples divided by number of samples. So this is what we generally do. But there is another side to average. Average can be viewed as an equal distribution. So how is that possible? Let us look at an example. Say suppose 5 different friends are having chocolates with them. Say one person is having 38 chocolate, another person is having 49 chocolate, another person is having 51 chocolate, fourth one 55, and the final person is having 57 chocolate. Now how will they equally distribute this? So what we are going to do here is we are going to find the average here. If I want to equally distribute this chocolate between these 5 people, then what you have to do is you need to take the average of this. So in order to take average, what we have to do here is we need to take the sum of the samples and divide by the number of samples. So adding all these values will fetch you a total of 250, and when you divide it by 5, the resultant value or the average is 50. So this is what the normal expression for average is. But we have learned that in average topic, the average of any number of values will always lie between the larger value and the lower value. So the range of the average will be between the larger value, that the highest value, as well as the least value. It will be between that. It will not be greater than the larger value, or it will not be lesser than the least value. So what we do is we apply a method of equal distribution, assumed average. We'll take an average, an assumed average between these two values, and then try to find the answer. This method is what we call as deviation method. Okay, it actually comes from the idea of equal distribution. So let us try that here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that the average of these set of values is 51. Okay, so that means that every person over here should receive 51 chocolates, because I was talking about chocolates, right? So it should be 51. Now let's see each person, how much is the deviation each person has got. So this first person is having 38 chocolate, which means that he need 13 more chocolates to make it 51, right? The second person is having 2 chocolate less than 51. That means he need 2 more chocolates. When I go to the third person, he is exactly having 51 chocolate. That means he don't need anything extra, or he don't need to give anything extra back to them. That means I'll be putting the value 0. And the fourth person is actually having 4 chocolates more. And the final person, the fifth person, is having 6 chocolates extra. So if my assumed value was actually the average, then there will not be any excess of deviation. There will not be any extra chocolate. What happens is, since it is equal distribution, the extra chocolates that is there should be sufficient to give it to the people who are having lesser number of chocolate. But look at here, what happened? There is a need of 15 chocolate, but there is only 10 chocolates in the entire system. So there is a difference, there is a net deviation of 5. That means our assumed average is not the correct value here. So what we do here is we need to find the average deviation that is obtained by dividing this value by 5, because there are 5 values, right? So the average deviation is -1, which means that the actual average should be -1 than this value, or 1 less than the assumed answer, which will be equal to 50. So this is what we call as the deviation method to find the average of a set of values. Now there are many questions which is actually coming from this particular topic, like persons joining, persons leaving, or values getting added, values getting subtracted, values getting replaced. In these kind of questions, how will we deal those questions? Say for example, consider this question. Average of 18 persons age is 22. If one more person joins, the average becomes 24. find the age of the new person. So typical question. You can find these kind of question very often. So what we do here, we'll just write down the value. See, there are 18 people initially. Their average age was 22. Then what happened? One more person joined. So the number of persons will be 19. Now, because this particular person joined, their average became 24. So I need to find this age of the new person. How will you do that? So as we know, average is equal to sum divided by the number of terms, right? So if there are 19 people and their average age is 24, the total age of this 19 people will be nothing but 19 into 24. Similarly, the age of this 18 people will be nothing but 18 into 22. Now this difference is what will be the age of the newly joined person. So this is how we typically solve the question. So let us try this. So if you are going to do that, this calculation is going to be a bit complex. So I am just trying to rewrite this expression in a different way. Okay, so the expression here is 19 into 24 minus 18 into 22. This seems to be a complex calculation. So we are going to express in a different manner. Look at here. We had 18 people and to that group there is one more person which joined. So can I write this as 18 plus 1 into 24? Yeah. Similarly, this 22 I am going to write in the terms of 24. So what we will have will be 24 minus 2. Right? The same expression I just simplified in a different manner. So I am just going to open the bracket. What we have is 18 into 24 plus 1 into 24 minus 18 into 24. Now this will become plus. So 18 into 2. So this is how the new expression is. Now look at here. This value will get cancelled, right? So what I am having left is 1 into 24 plus 18 into 2, which gives me 24 plus 36, which is equal to 60. So this is how we normally do it. So what I did is I just splitted the value and I obtained a new expression. Now the same question can be solved in a very smarter and very efficient way instead of doing all this calculation. Let's see how we can do that. So that is why I splitted this particular value. To explain you that is why I splitted this particular value. So let's see how this can be written. So we had 18 people, right? Their average age was 22. Then one more person joined. So the new number is 19 and the new average is 24. What we do here is we just calculate the extra or the difference over here. So 18 become 19. What happened? There is an increment of 1 person, right? And what happened over here? The average age of the group increased by 2. Now what you have to do is, listen very carefully. This value, that the extreme left value, you multiplied with the bottom right value, and the extreme right value, this deviation, you multiplied with the top left value. So what will I get over here? 1 into 24 plus 2 into 18. This is what we obtained earlier also. That is why I showed you with that particular expression. So what we have here is 24 plus 36, which is equal to 60. So this is the this is the age of the newly joined person. The extra person who joined is of the age of 60. So this method is actually the equal distribution method. What happened here is, we can also explain by the mental math method. See, if there are 19 people and their average age is 24, I am just assuming that all the 19 people are of having 24 age. Right? The age is 24. But when this new person joined, what actually happened was, the previous average was 22, it became 24. So there is an increment of 2 years. That increment happened because this particular person who joined is more than the previous average. His age is more than the previous average. How much more? Which is obtained by this particular method, right? The extra weight is actually equally distributed. The extra age is actually equally distributed with all the other 18 people. This is what equal distribution is, and that is what we obtain here by applying this particular idea. The same method can be applied even when the people are, adding up, or even when the people are leaving the group, or when there is a replacement also. So any type of question, irrespective of what type, we can apply this same method to find the answer. Only thing to look carefully is the sign. So if we have plus over here, if there is an increment, you should put a plus value. If there is a decrement or there is a decrease in the value, you should put a negative sign over here. So let us try with a different question. Look at here. The average age of 4 brothers is 12 years. If the age of their mother is also included, the average age increased by 5 years. The age of the mother in years is. So what happened initially? How many people are there? There are 4 brothers. So I'll write 4. Their average age was 12, right? Now what happened? If I include the age of mother, then there are 5 people. What happened to the average? It becomes increased by 5 years. So the new value will be nothing but 17. So this is what we have. Now instead of doing the typical method, what we are going to do is the method which I showed you in the earlier question. What we have to do here is take the differences. So 4 became 5. So there is an increment of 1. 12 became 17. So there is an increment of 5. So that means the mother's age will be obviously more than this. That is why there is an increment in their average age. So how will you find the age of the mother? What we have to do here is, as I told you before, this value multiplied with the bottom right value, this value multiplied with the top left value. So when you do that operation, what we get is 1 into 17 plus 5 into 4. The resultant value will be 17 plus 20, which is equal to 37 years, and that will be the age of the mother. Hence your answer is option A. Isn't it very simple? Now believe me, we can apply this method for any type of question. Okay, so let's see another question. The question number 3. 3 years ago, the average age of a family of 5 members was 17 years. A baby have been born. The average age of the family is the same today. The present age of the baby is. So what happened here? 3 years ago, the average age of the family of 5 members is 17. So 17 was the average age 3 years ago. So right now, at present, what will be their average age? Obviously, each of those persons' age would have been increased by 3. Hence, the average age of these 5 people at present should have been how much? 3 more than 17, which will be equal to 20. Right? Now what happened? A baby have been born. So now there are 6 people. The average age of the family is same today. That means it is same as before. What was the previous value? That is 17. So obviously when the baby was born, there is a decrease in the average age because the baby was, lesser of age than the previous average. Now we are asked to find what is the present age of the baby. So let us try to do the calculation by the method which I explained you earlier questions. So calculate the differences in these values over here. 5 became 6. So 1 person increased. Now 20 became 17. The average age decreased actually. So what will I do here? I will put a minus sign because there is a decrease here. Now multiply this value with the bottom right value and multiply this value with the top left value. Okay. So 1 into 17 minus 3 into 5. This will give you the age of the baby at present, which is nothing but 2 years old. So your answer is option B. See how simple this question has become when you apply this particular logic, isn't it? So let's go to our next question. Question number 4. There are 50 students in a class. Their average weight is 45 kilogram. When one student leaves the class, the average weight reduces by 100 grams. What is the weight of the student who left the class? So here what happened is there is one person leaving the group. Believe me, we can apply the same method even when the person is leaving. So let us write the value. What happened? There are 50 students in a class. So let's write 50. Their average weight is 45 kilogram. So 45 kilogram was their average weight. When one student leaves the class, the average weight reduces by 100 grams. So 100 grams is nothing but how many kilograms? It's 0.1 kilogram, right? So this is what happens. Now look at the values over here. What we have here is the person is leaving the group. One student leaves the class. So the new value will be nothing but 49. And the average of the group has been decreased. So the new average will be nothing but 44.9. Right? So this is what happened. So I just express this grams in terms of kilogram and there is a decrease. So let's take the differences now here. So 50 became 49, so there is a decrease of -1. 45 became 49.9, so there is a decrease of 0.1 gram. So 0.1 kilogram. What we have to do here is multiply this value with the bottom right value and this value with this top left value. So -1 into 44.9 minus 0.1 into 50. So this is what we have to do. So what we get over is minus 44.9 minus 5. So the resultant value will be nothing but 49.9. So you might be seeing that there is a minus value. Now actually you don't need to mind that particular minus value. Whether that is minus or whether that is plus, that actually reflects the age of the person who left the group. The only thing that you should be worried will be this signs, right? When you take the differences, this sign has to be kept the same. But in the resultant, in the final value, whether you get minus or whether you get plus, that really don't affect the answer. Okay? So this is the weight of the person who actually left the group. The answer is option C. Is that clear? So now we saw that even when one person leaves the group, we are applying the same principle to get the answer more faster. Is it? So the next question number 5. So here what happens? The average weight of a group of boys is 40 kilogram. After a boy of weight 58.5 joins the group, the average weight of the group is increased by 0.5 kilogram. Find the number of boys in the group originally. So here the question is somewhat different. They are asking to find the number of people who were there originally. They are not asking the weight of the new person because that is already given. So how will you do this? So let us assume that there were n people, n boys originally. So I will be writing this value n. So there are n people and their average weight was 40 kilogram, right? After a boy of weight 58.5 joins the group. So one more person is joining, that is n plus 1. What happened? The group's average weight is increased by 0.5 kilogram, right? So this will be 40.5 kilogram. Find the number of boys in the group originally. So we have to do the same procedure. What we have here is there is an increase of 1, so I'll write plus 1, and there is an increase in the weight, average weight, which happened to be 0.05. Okay, I need to find the number of people given the weight of the new person who joined. So how will you write that particular value? The difference here into the bottom right value, and this difference into the top right value should be the weight of the newly joined person. Now how much will be that? 1 into 40.5 plus 0.5 into n is equal to 58.5. So 0.5 n is equal to 58.5 minus 40.5, which is equal to how much? 18. So 0.5 n is equal to 18. So n will be equal to 36. So that will be the number of students who were there initially in the class, right? So here we were asked to find the number of people. Still we haven't changed the method. We are using the same method which we learned in all the previous question to find the answer. So we will move to our last question. This question explains the case of a replacement. Okay, so look at here. The average temperature for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday was 48 degree. The average temperature for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday was 52 degree. If the temperature on Monday was 42 degree, then the temperature on Friday was. Okay, so this is what happened. So what we'll write it, we have Monday, then Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. There are 4 days. The average temperature is 48 degrees Celsius. Okay, then the temperature for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So this is what we have. So again we have only 4 values. So actually what happened, there is no there is no difference or there is no addition, there is only replacement. Instead of Monday's temperature, we have taken the Friday's temperature. So what happened to the temperature? It became 52 degrees Celsius. Now, how will we do this question? I told you we can apply the same method. What happened is, instead of Monday, we have Friday. So look at here, there is no difference here. So here value, the difference in value here will be 0. We don't need to calculate, the difference is 0 here. So when you multiply that with 52, again it will become 0. So I don't need to consider that at all. Instead, here the difference is how much? 48 became 52. That means look at here. So if I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the average temperature is 48 degrees Celsius. Now if I replace that with Friday's temperature, if it was 48, that means there was no change in the temperature of Friday. It will be same as that of Monday. But what happened? There is an increase. How much is the increase? There is an increase of 4. So this 4 is the extra than the previous one. So what was the previous value? Monday's temperature is given in the question, which is equal to 42 degrees Celsius. So Friday's temperature would have been 42 if the average was still remaining the same, but it is not. So the difference over here is 4. So we have to multiply this with the top left value. So 4 into 4 is 16 degrees Celsius, which will be more than the Monday's temperature, that is 42. So 42 plus 16, which will be equal to 58 degrees Celsius, and that will be the temperature on Friday. So we have seen multiple questions where people are joining the group, items are leaving the group, items are getting replaced. Whatever it may be, we have only one method entirely to solve all this kind of question, and it is the most efficient method to solve averages, which actually derives from the equal distribution method of average. Thank you so much.